YouTube. So recently I came across a short video from a channel named PineCreekDoug. And so for those of you who don't know PineCreekDoug and what this channel is about, this is a channel, an atheist channel. So he provides commentary and critiques on pastors and apologetics and theologians and theology and all that good stuff from an atheistic perspective. He'll also get on panels and do debates and things like that. And so I'll also say that PineCreekDoug seems to be one of the more tolerable, likable atheists. He's not your garden variety, generic, pretentious, overly mocking, name calling atheist who just wants to embarrass Christians because he thinks they're all just ignorant, dumb, human beings with nothing to say or nothing, not an interesting perspective at all. It's just all nonsense. But he is an atheist. But again, he seems to debate and get on panels in good faith to actually debate and to get into and do the intellectual rigor of a debate and questioning and providing inquiry and things like that. I'll also say that PineCreek seems to be conservative. I don't want to speak for him or his channel, but he does seem to be conservative, which I'm sure does not endear him to many of the liberal atheists who may watch his channel. But I appreciate that, but that's neither here nor there or the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video was to actually provide some of my commentary and just 2 cents on this short video where PineCreek is interacting with a Christian and another YouTuber, Mike Winger. So Mike Winger is a Christian, a Protestant. On his channel, he provides a lot of content on Bible studies and Bible history and differences between the denominations. And he has, ask a pastor 20 questions where even atheists can submit questions and he'll try to address them and things like that. So pretty big channel. But I thought this would be interesting to look at a topic like Noah's flood from two different perspectives. Because sometimes I think, maybe people may, when it comes to certain things like the flood and morality and, how we look at things, sometimes maybe we're even talking past one another. So we'll get into this video. It's not very long, and I'll just provide my 2 cents, and we will go ahead and get it started. So here we go.
That was one of the purposes of the flood. The flood seems to stand in Scripture as a constant testimony to mankind that God will judge sin.
Okay, so I'm hearing you say that you view the flooding as more unpleasant than proofing.
Yes, and I think that's why it was done.
So, one of the video is not much longer, and I'll let it go. But one of the points that PineCreek is bringing up about the flood and about God is that the flood was unpleasant. That's one of the questions he has. And so, just to kind of discuss that or unpack that a little bit is that, just because an atheist doesn't like something, that's not a good argument against God. Just because God allowed something or caused something unpleasant to happen, that's not an argument against God. I could make a similar argument in that, your opinion that something was unpleasant and that being bad is bad. That's not really an argument. That's not proving anything or demonstrating anything. So something being unpleasant is really irrelevant. And from a Christian perspective, looking at an atheistic perspective on the world around, many atheists believe in evolution and survival of the fittest. Well, plenty of unpleasant things happen in nature all the time. Survival of the fittest doesn't inherently mean pleasant for natural events. And if something unpleasant happens to a species, is that not just survival of the fittest and purging out the unworthy or less satisfying genetics? It's just kind of a weird metaphysical, philosophical stance to take as an atheist on something like this.
My thought.
You think God purposely wanted it to be unpleasant?
Well, yeah, I don't think he wanted it to be enjoyable. I mean, it was...
Again, that's not really a point of contention. Yes, me being a father, I have children. When I punish my children, I purposely don't want that to be pleasant. I want that to be unpleasant, so they don't do that again. Whatever they're doing wrong, they don't do it again, and they learn a lesson. There's nowhere, there's no command or anything like that says that thou shalt not make life unpleasant. Like, it's just not a great internal or external critique of this situation.
Meant to be unpleasant.
So the God of love wanted 1-year-olds to have an unpleasant death.
Got him. PineCreek's got him. So that's the end of the video. And what I really wanted to get into is a couple of things that I think are important in a situation like this. So the first being the context of love. My understanding of love as a Christian, from a Christian perspective, is not going to be the same as an atheist or many atheists. My perspective on marriage, my perspective on sinful, what is good, what is bad, is not going to be the same as an atheist, just by the nature of what I believe versus what an atheist believes, and the standards that I use versus what the standards that an atheist use to judge things. So first off, just something being unpleasant, by what objective standard are you as an atheist determining what is and is not pleasant? And not only that, if something is unpleasant, by what objective standard are you determining that that's bad? That something being unpleasant, therefore that is bad or wrong or immoral. It's not a very well thought out position to make. The other thing that I would talk about is the context of love. Again, my position as a Christian on something like love is going to be different than an atheist. My position on many things is going to be different from an atheist. So from an internal critique perspective, if that's what he's trying to do, what is the Christian's perspective on love? Well, here's a Bible verse. This is a Bible verse that, I'm sure even a lot of atheists have heard. This is a very famous, Bible verse. If you've been to a wedding, again, even if you're an atheist, I'm sure you've heard this Bible verse, but this is 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. So that's Bible verses, but I'm sure a lot of people have heard this. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. So nowhere in that Bible verse does it say that in every situation all the time, love must be pleasant, and love must therefore always make people happy and feel good about themselves, and you therefore can never punish people. That's not the Christian perspective on love. This really isn't an internal critique, and again, it's not a very good external critique, because I would question, your opinion on what is pleasant and what is unpleasant and what is bad and what is good is just subjective. I don't have the luxury of having an opinion on morality that is my own. The Christian sense of morality precedes the Christian, the individual Christian. I didn't create what is sin and what is not sin by Christian standards. That precedes me. That transcends me. So therefore, I don't have my own subjective opinion on those. situations. Whereas an atheist, if I was an atheist, what is unpleasant to me could be very pleasant to another atheist, or someone else who didn't believe in God or hold my exact standards or view of reality. So it's not a very good external critique either. What I would also say is the nature of God. My perspective as a Christian on the nature of God is that he is the creator and he has the authority to establish what is and is not moral, to establish what is bad, what is good, that by, the standards by which we judge these things. And so, as I look at the world through a Christian perspective, God can decide to do with his creation whatever he needs or wants to do. The only reason I exist is because God allows it. And I'll provide another Bible verse that hopefully will provide some context on the Christian view of God and the authority of the Creator and, his authority to be able to interact with his creation however he wants to. So this is Romans 9:19 through 24. And I'll read. One of you will say to me, then why does God still blame us? For who is able to resist his will? But who are you, a human being, to talk back to God? Shall what is formed say to the one who formed it, why did you make me like this? Does not the potter have the right to make out of the same lump of clay some pottery for special purposes and some for common use? This Bible verse, to provide a bit of context, where do I get off as a human being, as a Christian, to question God? God created our reality. It is not necessary for me to exist. I exist because God allows me to exist. So if you're a wicked human being, a wicked generation that denies God and spits in his face, and you're living a wicked lifestyle and doing wicked things, God can do with you whatever he pleases. There's no obligation for him to allow you to exist. You don't have, you exist because he allows it. So the perspective on love and God and God's nature is really, I think this is a situation where two people are actually speaking past one another, and they're not really, from a Christian perspective, this is just a bit of ignorance on the understanding of, how a Christian views love, the context of love from a Christian perspective, the nature of God and the context of the authority of God and his nature. So I don't, this is not a got you for me. This is just my opinion, my 2 cents, but I hope this was helpful or enlightening to anyone, and I appreciate it.